The second thing is, and I talked about this during my live stream before, is the concept of the 70-30 execution rule. The 70-30 execution rule. So what is the 70-30 execution rule? So at a high level, 70% of your time should be spent creating results, having impact, not just getting tasks done, but what are you delivering that is moving the needle in your department and in your overall organization. So spend 70% of your time doing that. But then also you want to spend 30% of your time learning and refining what you are doing, not only in your position, but also within the department, which also paints a bigger picture within in the organization. So 30% really isn't a lot of time if you schedule it the right way. But one of the biggest things that are detrimental to someone that has graduated, and this has happened to me until I had to kick myself in the face to get back on it, is learning, right? You have just spent the last 4, 5, maybe even 6, no judgment, years learning something and doing your best to master something to get a degree. But there is no rule saying once you graduate, you should cut off that hunger to learn or that thirst to learn. But a lot of people do. It could be based off of being burnt out. It could be just based off of the fact that people need a break. I don't know what it is, but you should still be learning. And the learning doesn't necessarily have to be the same way that you have been learning in school. You can learn from podcasts. You can go to YouTube University. You could go to your colleagues, or you can go to your old professors just to keep your brain moving in the right direction. But your brain and your time within your organization, once again, your performance should not just be solely on work. You have to carve out time for you to learn, because the more you learn, the more you learn and the more you execute, the more results you deliver, and the more, I'm about to say desserts, I must be hungry, but the more that you accomplish, the more value that you bring to an organization. That creates overall leverage, and it puts you at a higher level of being a valuable employee within the organization, right? But you have people so focused, tunnel vision, and just want to work. I get that, but knowing the 70-30 execution rule, 70% of execution, especially if you're doing it at a high level and bringing, not just doing tasks, but being results oriented, you're going to move the needle. So also carve out that 30% of your time to learn more, which is key. One way to do this and put this into actual motion, it can be something as clear as you're planning out your day. And I hope as a professional working in an organization, you are not just in a reactive state when it comes to your job. Hopefully you are planning out your day so you know exactly what you're going to be doing from the time that you walk in to the time that you leave. Now, there's going to be some caveats, some emergencies, some extra projects, but do not just go willy-nilly. Make sure that your day is very controlled. A great professional development guru, he said, don't start your day until it's finished. And that guru is Jim Rohn. Once again, I want to give people their props. But he said, don't start your day until it's finished. What does that mean? You want to make sure before you leave the office, make sure you have a very good understanding of what your day will look like tomorrow. Will it change? Monkey wrenches are thrown into play. Things will happen. But if you plan your day out the way you need to, you can easily divide your day from learning to doing. Very easy, but you have to make sure that you have a very good understanding of what your schedule is going to look like. Consistency is key, but I don't want you to think that you had a bad day if you didn't spend 30% of your day. Some things happen, right? You may have to some days you may have to go 100% in executing, but still find ways to carve out that 30%. Once again, as you're looking at your Outlook calendar and your execution list, let me just call it that, divide it up and say, okay, here's the moments in time or the pockets of time today that I can actually learn something. I can listen to a podcast, or in some instances, you can possibly do both at once while you're listening to a podcast, while you're working. As you continue to get into your work groove as a new professional, you'll figure out the best way to intertwine both of them. But once again, spend 70% of your time executing and delivering results, and spend that other 30% of your time, right,